Hey everyone, and welcome to my channel all about decoupage. Hi, I am Veronica, and in today's video I'm gonna show you what I did with two food containers I got as a gift from a friend who said, yeah, you can do something pretty with it for sure. So here is how I upcycle them. So firstly, I took those two containers. They were like before protein shake containers, and I painted it with white paint twice, let it dry between each layer. I had this cute gnome mold which I had to try out, so I made two identical gnomes, and then after my containers were dry, I applied a little bit of decoupage glue onto the box or container itself, and then carefully I applied the first layer of the napkin onto the container, and slowly, very slowly, I glued it on. Don't rush this process because you will get wrinkles with it, so just carefully, slowly glue your napkin onto the container or box. If you are not sure, you can do it in one piece. That's okay too. You can do some sections as well. It's not a problem. Then I have measured how big my lids of the containers are, and then I traced it onto the napkin itself, and then with some scissors I just cut out the circle around. Then again, with a little bit of decoupage glue, I glued it onto the lid. Here I must say I didn't paint the inside of the lid because it is white anyway, so there was no need for painting it. After everything was dry, it was time for my trusted glitter decoupage glue, so I just sealed my container with it and my lids as well. Of course, this step is fully optional and you don't have to do it. I just love my glitter decoupage glue, and I love the glitter shimmer on it. Then it was time to paint my gnomes, and of course I wanted my gnomes to match my container, so I did apply a little bit of napkin as well. So I applied some napkin onto his body and onto the bunny ears. Well, I don't think this is really an Easter decor because I love this kind of gnomes in springtime as well. And as you can see, I didn't cut out my napkins. I just glued the part of napkin I wanted to have on the ears, and rest I just took off. The same way with the body of my gnome, I just took a little piece of napkin, then I looked around if it fits on his body, and then slowly I glued it around, and where the glue wasn't there, then that part I just took off. And of course, as usual, every material I use will be listed in description box below if I cannot find the same kind of material or even napkin, because I am not sure where I got these napkins. For example, I will post something similar, but I am sure you can use any kind of napkin you like or will match your home decor. After my gnomes were napkinized, is it a word? Well, after my gnomes had their napkins on, I am putting a little bit of paint around my lids and of course around my container as well. And then it was time to seal my container and my lids. So I am using pouring glaze for this because I wanted to have it shiny looking. Of course you can use water-based varnish, you can use glossy or matte as well, it's up to you. For more shine, I applied 3 to 4 layers of the glaze, let it dry between each layer. And then it was time to paint my cute little gnomes, so I chose colors which suited my napkins. I am using acrylics paints for this. Of course you can use other kind of paints as well. And I was just having fun with the painting, so I am painting the flowers and other part of his cute body. And if you are now asking yourself, where did she get that cute mold? Of course, even this link will be in description box below. So after watching this video, not before, just go ahead and check out my description box with the materials on. After my gnomes were all painted, I was thinking they look a little bit too shiny for my taste, so I am using dry brush and some white paint to apply white shadows all around him, so I will get some kind of shabby chic look. And for this technique, really use a dry brush and small amount of white paint. After everything was dry, it was time to seal my paints. So I am using matte varnish for this. Of course you can use glossy one as well. And again, the varnish is water-based. Of course, now this step is fully optional and you don't have to do it, but I like to apply a little bit of wax paste on my design. So here I am using gloves because this part is a little bit messy, so I like to use gloves for it. For better hold onto my container slash box, I am using heavy body gel for this, and I am just gluing my gnome the best way I can in the center, because I am telling you, I am this kind of person who cannot find the center even if it's written or glued or whatever on. So I am trying to hit the center the best way I can, and then I let my lids with my gnomes dry. And after this, I was thinking it needs a little bit more, so I am using some clay flowers for this, and I am decorating my container with it, and I am gluing my air drying clay flowers with some express glue from Pentart. And after I had my flowers on, I was thinking it needs something more, so I use my pearl mold as well, and I applied some pearls in between my flowers as well. And then before I painted it, I let the whole thing dry. Okay, now it's time to paint my clay flowers. And can I tell you a little secret? I painted these 2 weeks after I glued them on. I seriously didn't have time for painting my clay flowers. So yeah, 2 weeks later I decided, yeah, it's about time to paint them. So I am using some acrylic paints, which I think are very complementing my napkin design. And if you hear a crazy dog barking, well, that's my dog, and I do apologize for it, but he always decides somehow to bark when I am voice over my video, so that's the way it is, right? So who has a crazy dog like that as well? Let me know in the comments. After painting my flowers and the paint wasn't dry yet, I am wiping any excess of the paint with wet towel, and this way I'm getting some rustic shabby chic look. And after that I let it dry, and after it is dry it was time to seal my clay flowers. So I am using again matte varnish for this, but of course you can use glossy one as well. And this time I am really varnishing only the clay flowers, and after it I am using again some wax paste for my clay flowers as well. Then it was time to let the whole thing dry, and then after another 2 weeks have passed, it was time to make a video about my upcycle containers with gnomes on. So I am hoping you did enjoy watching this video. If you have any question, just ask me. If you would, please do subscribe to my channel. Please do go out, check out my Etsy store if you want to for some cute design there. Until next time, bye.